What's up everyone, I'm VenomousStare back with more innovation, and he's facing off against Stats, who is a very good Protoss Korean player who has top forward in SSL twice, and Stats is down here in the bottom of Vanny. Of course opening double gas after expand, pretty standard stuff. Reaper expand here is going to be the choice for innovation, so everything's standard up to this point. If you don't know who Innovation is, this guy is absolutely incredible. Quite frankly, he's one of the best players to have ever touched the game. He's right up there with MVP in terms of best Terrans ever. He's adding a second barracks right now. His Reaper's about to finish. Cybercore about halfway done for Stats. So Innovation is really known for his macro. He's not someone that ever really relies on trickery or cheese or deception to win games. In fact, quite the contrary. He's often known as someone who can do a build that you actually know is coming, but he's so good at execution, and his macro is so crisp and clean that he can win anyway. And the build that he used that was very effective versus Zerg for a long time, that was a great example of this, was his very fast 3cc double upgrade mine bio style, and a lot of people were playing that style, but no one came close to Innovation. He was just completely unfathomably good, and Artosis said he was the best Terran in the world a few days ago, and as far as I'm concerned, Artosis' word is law. Stats is going to start a Stargate here as his Expo has finished and has already started to mine. Innovation's Expo has also finished. He started Stim Pack, and I would suspect that he's going to do a little bit of mine drop play because that's what's been popular with the Korean players recently. Innovation has his Reaper over here. This is valuable because he's going to probably run it in the mid game, but it's going to be important to see whether or not he sees the Stargate. He's very quick, Innovation, already at 400 APM. I'm sure that'll go up. And he doesn't see it. The Stargate's right over here. He's actually going to scout the Nashville to see how many probes that there are. So he gets some scouting info, right? It wasn't a total waste, but he missed what he really wanted to see, which was the first tech of choice. Stats is going to go for Phoenix, which is interesting, and then he'll go into Robo. So I like this build, actually. Widow Mine has started, and so is the Medevac, so it'll definitely be Widow Mine drop, and I'll explain why I like the Stats build. So he's playing pretty greedy. He's going straight into Phoenix. He just has the one gateway and then went into Robo. And he is getting a Twilight too, so he does not have much in the way of gateways. But this is actually pretty damn good at holding off a Widow Mine drop, because the Phoenix can pick up the Widow Mine when it tries to burrow, which of course prevents it from burrowing, which is the main thing that you have to worry about with the Widow Mine drop, is once it gets in the ground you have to have detection. And oftentimes you'll see Stats open up with, or not Stats, but Protoss players in general, open up with an Oracle, and then oftentimes they can harass with it, they can use Revelation, and it can detect the mine drop if necessary. But we can see that a couple mines are in this Medevac, and Stats really just has this one gateway, and he's making an Observer. He has Phoenix, so he's really not going to lose much to this mine. Of course his Observer is already out. And the fact that he went into this quick Robo means he doesn't need the Oracle for the Revelation. Stats is researching Resonating Glaives and finally adding on those extra gates, so he's playing really greedy versus Innovation, knowing how good Innovation's macro is. Trying to get an advantage that way, but here's Innovation. He's going to stim and attack the third. Stats can't defend this. He plain and simple did a really greedy build and does not have the infrastructure as far as gates go to defend. So Innovation's little push is going to kill the third, and now he's going to run into the main, or at least attempt to. He'll get force fielded off, drop the mines, and Stats does a nice split. He won't take much damage here. Actually, just 2 probes die, so the very minimum amount of damage. But we see Innovation has killed the Cybercore at the front door, so no Adepts, no Sentries, no Stalkers for a hot minute, and that is so frustrating for Stats. Innovation's bio gets cleaned up, but we see a Liberator over here has killed about 7 workers. If we go to the workers killed tab, yes, 7 workers because 2 died earlier. Third base is on the way for Innovation. The third base is started again for Stats. And perhaps if Innovation had played more greedy himself or not done such a threatening build, that third would have survived because the second and third gates were coming up right at that moment from Stats, but that's kind of the thing about playing Innovation, is he is just that crisp, as we see that Observer died. Innovation is just so crisp and good that, ooh, nice little pick off here by Stats. The Innovation, if you ever play greedy against him, he can even take advantage of it just with the little second of timing, because everything he does is timed out so well. So oftentimes Stats could have held that third base against mini Terrans. You know, probably 95% of high-level pro gamer Terrans would not have had as a precise and crisp macro as Innovation. So Innovation's good macro allowed him to hit that little window before those gateways came up. Because if that push hit a little later, Stats could warp in a couple rounds and probably hold. Widow Mines are in the mineral line here, but Stats kind of knew that there were Widow Mines, so he's probably not going to get caught off guard, and there he micros away very well. Kills a couple workers. Innovation scans over at the third. He has a Marine going out. And Innovation's going to reposition these mines as he makes a turret, and he's going to push out. And the Widow Mines are actually going to go across this little tiny lake here and die, which is not good because obviously Innovation has all these barracks, right? Bio's really easy to produce. He only has one factory. Granted, it's a reactored factory, but the Widow Mines are significantly less expendable than the Bio, and that is true also with the Medevacs. Lots of income here for Innovation, that's nice to see. And if we look at the base of Stats, he's researching his air upgrades. He's teched into a Robo Bay and he's going into Colossus. Innovation himself is going to do the textbook thing that good Terran players do after opening with one eBay, which is build another eBay that will finish right at around the time that your upgrade will with an armory, so you can start 2-2. And since Colossi is the choice for Stats, at some point Innovation will probably start missile attack for his air mech units, because being able to do the maximum amount of damage per volley is so important. You always want to prioritize attack upgrades whenever you're making Vikings to deal with Colossi as opposed to defense upgrades. So Innovation's going to stim, check for a fourth, it's not there, scan over on the army of Stats. So Stats kind of knows where Innovation is relatively. He can guess he's either like here, here, or here, because if the Terran scans your third, oftentimes you can kind of deduce that they have units close and they're trying to figure out whether or not they should attack. And Innovation scans again to look for an obs. One Colossi for Stats. Thermal Lance is not done. A little bit of Widow Mine action attempted, but it's going to get snuffed out here with Phoenix. So nice defense there by Stats. And Innovation is going to press out with more Bio Mine. 2-2 on the way for Innovation, as well as missile air attacks. Armored air attacks, I guess it would be called. And he has a couple Colossi now, so once you get about 3 Colossi, that's when you can really start to pressure Terran. You really need that Thermal Lance too, and that's kind of how it times out sometimes, depending on how you allocate your chrono. Innovation had a mine broed up here, that's smart. Oftentimes Protoss will try to sneak stuff over on this high ground to harass this third, because of course it is also effective at harassing the fourth. 2-2 is about halfway done. Thermal Lance just completed. Blink is on the way, as well as another Colossi. And they were thinking about engaging here. So Innovation has Liberators. Here's the engagement. He has Mines and Liberators. Stats has a nice little focus fire here. Kills the Libs off. And suddenly, the most powerful thing about Innovation's army is dead. The Mines and the Libs. And Innovation sees that, okay, Stats is actually going for a Colossi mix, so I'll make Vikings 4 at a time. And this is going to be tricky for Stats because Innovation is going to be in a position very soon where he has a ton of Vikings and he will be able to push very hard. And he quite simply has a way better economy than Stats, and that means that Stats is going to have not that big of a ground army. He's going to be relying on a lot of Colossi. And if Innovation snipes the Colossi and doesn't get into a full-fledged engagement, he will do very well. Stats is trying to go into Disruptor here, but it's just now kind of getting into things. And Innovation, of course, with this crisp macro, is always attacking, always pressuring. 3-3 on the way. Nice scan. In Innovation, he's up to 414 APM. That's just ludicrous. Holy shit, he went up to... Look at that, wow. Innovation pressing forward here. He can just kite back with the ground army while he snipes the Colossi. And here it goes. Stats is trying to focus fire, but Innovation is kited back so much, and he dodges the Disruptor wonderfully. And now the Colossi are about to all fall down. And Stats, plain and simple, can't fight. He's severely out-upgraded. He has to have Splash. The Disruptor aren't out in enough numbers yet. And once again, Innovation hits a crisp timing where Stats just needed another minute to be in a good position to defend. And suddenly Innovation is crushing Stats' fourth. And he's probably going to take the game here as he has a fourth of his own that's about to be of the planetary nature. DT being warped in here. Innovation just has to scan diligently. Sometimes it can be tricky to see that you're dying to a DT when there's just one of them. There's also OBS and there's also Disruptors and stuff. Vikings land as Disruptors are the choice instead of Colossi, and there's no point in having flying Vikings. And Stats is going to have to GG soon. This is a best of 7, so there's going to be plenty more games. Make sure you subscribe to this channel and click the bell icon so you don't miss any of the games. And there's the GG. Stats loses, so make sure you subscribe, click that bell icon. You don't want to miss the subsequent games of this best of 7.